Never in a million years did I think that they would do it, but here it is, the all-new 24 megapixel full-frame Nikon D600. All that right here on Live View Edition number 6. Welcome to Live View, keeping you focused on all things photo video. I'm your host, Mark Puckett. The special order lists are already filling up for what appears to be a fantastic entry-level, full-frame, pro-level camera. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right in. First off, let me start off by saying that I'm going to be comparing this camera with the next body down, the D7000. I think overall, the majority of us that own the D7000 do so because it can do almost everything that the more pricier bodies can do without having to shell out an extra $2,000 to get it. The major downside was always the crop sensor versus full frame. And for me, that was just never quite enough to make me want to pursue a full frame camera. But now, that looks to be changing. So, for an extra $900, here is what you can have. 24 megapixels as opposed to 16. The dual card slots are still in full effect, yes. And as you all well know, this is an FX full frame sensor as opposed to the smaller cropped DX version. And just as a side note, if you are upgrading from a DX camera, the D600 has a built-in FX to DX crop mode that will automatically sense the type of lens that you're using and go ahead and adjust itself automatically for you. It's very nice of them. You will actually lose a half a frame per second burst going from 6 frames per second with the D7000 to 5.5 with the D600. It's not a huge biggie, but it's curious nonetheless. Your ISO range will be exactly the same except for the addition of a new low one setting coming in at 50 ISO. Now, here's where I was most interested. The movie mode settings. You're going to be getting at 1080p in 30, 25, and 24 frames per second. Still no 60. Why? I have no idea. In 20p, you'll be able to shoot in 60, 50, 30, and 25 frames per second. Strangely enough, no 24. So while I appreciate the effort, Nikon is still dropping the ball a little bit on these frame rates. I seriously just don't get it. But they did include a redeeming feature that you can now use the HDMI port and record uncompressed 1080p 8-bit 4x2x2 color video directly to an external video recorder. It's pretty nice. Now the built-in monitor goes from 3 inches to 3.2. Thank you very much. And for those already holding on to a D7000, you'll be happy to know that the D600 takes the exact same batteries, the EN EL15 lithium ions. Now the D600 is slightly bigger in all dimensions, but it is significantly heavier than the D7000. Weighing in at 42 ounces or 760 grams, this is almost double the total weight, making it almost a full 4 pounds without a lens. And as heavy as it is still the absolute lightest of the FX lineup, which puts it into great territory to compete against other cameras in its class. Now, if you're looking to do a lot of video, you'll be extremely happy to know that they have finally included both a stereo microphone jack and a stereo headphone jack. They've also included the X-Speed 3 image processor, which will give you a lot more dynamic range and tonality between your shadows, your mid-range, and your highlights. The D600 now has some wireless capability too, although it's not built in. With the new accessory called the WU1B, you can wirelessly transfer your images to a smartphone or a tablet. Now, I would have really liked to have seen this functionality built directly into the body, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Another thing you can do with the wireless unit is remotely view what the camera sees and even take pictures using nothing more than an app to pull focus and release the shutter. Now, one issue that I know that a ton of people are going to have with this particular camera is that it does have a built-in flash. Now, I really don't care about that, honestly, and I even find it a little convenient, especially since you can use it in commander mode and remotely fire your speedlights without having to buy any extra radio triggers. So in my personal opinion, if you have been in the past uneasy about making the jump to a full-framed FX sensor camera, there should be little hesitation with this new body coming to market. Now, I think this is not only the perfect size, weight, and price point for a huge swath of the photographic community, but it's also the perfect time. With the release of the D600, photographers and indie filmmakers now have a viable new stepping stone in the progression towards more pro equipment. But as for now, you can shoot big and travel light. So I hope you guys found all this info useful and handy. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe to stay current with all things photo video. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I'm keeping your world in live view.